Great, welcome everybody to this 1 o'clock slot. That came out a bit wrong. So I hope you've all either had some lunch or are looking forward to some lunch afterwards. I'm taking half an hour maximum, as you know, with these sessions, so there should be plenty of time for you to go get a sandwich. And I'm glad I'm not doing the one straight after lunch, because people's bellies tend to be a bit full and you're a little bit quieter. So what's this session all about? I came up with the name, or two names really. One was about B2B marketing in an automated world. I say that because actually there's a lot of product and tools that are now involved in doing marketing. And although 90% of what I talk about today, I'm not actually referencing tools, I'm very well aware that they are kind of underpinning and enabling us to do a good job these days. And the reason for saying supercharging is because I really do think that that's an opportunity. With the technology that's available today and the attitude around marketing as it develops, I think there really is an opportunity to do that. And I think a lot of businesses need it as well in 2013 with this sort of tough economic climate and an ever-increasing challenge on driving leads into our businesses profitably. Just a little bit about myself, just so you know where my talking point is from and what I do. There are a couple of ways that you can get hold of me after today, should you wish. And I was asked earlier, and yes, the slides for today are available. We're scanning you all, and we'll send you a link to the slide deck so you can have a copy of it at your leisure after today. And also, I'll get this in right now, but there's a free prize draw to win a holiday to Venice. Very unconnected it may seem, but there's a survey in there that we'd like you to complete, and then there's a chance to win the holiday. So that's just a flyer that's sitting on your seat, or you're probably sitting on it at the moment. A little bit more about myself. So I'm a practitioner and trainer in marketing. I've been in the industry for 18 years. I spent the first 14 integrated agency side and have developed my career in the last 4 years training clients and being an independent practitioner. So I now help brands with their marketing strategy, and I train in areas such as digital marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, CRM, integrated digital, all those areas. And I do that for the CIM and the IDM and other training bodies, as well as I have my own clients too. And has anyone seen me at the 10 o'clock slot today for the CIM? Okay, so this is a different presentation for those half a dozen of you who've diligently made it to 2 sessions. I didn't put you off in the first one. The majority of the content is different. There's just a couple of slides that are joining up the dots for me in marketing today, and so that's why they're in both decks. Some themes for today, and the reason why I've put them up there is because I was wondering why you guys are in the room. I mean, I know we've got lots of good reasons to be in the room, but I was just trying to think about what they could be. And the ones I really thought about was that, you know, in B2B business, we have some challenges, and those challenges could be aired today, and I hopefully am tackling a couple of them. We're probably wondering about the role of technology. We're probably wondering if we can make a measurable difference in 2013. Can that actually impact your bottom line? And there's this new thing, or not necessarily so new, about content marketing, which was what my 10 o'clock slot was all about. So what is that all about? First of all, some challenges. I think one of the most important things that businesses are facing right now is that it is getting harder to achieve cut-through with the marketing that you're doing and deliver quality leads into the business. And that is getting either harder or more expensive, or the click-through rates are getting lower, or your SEO isn't working quite as well, or you're more scared about can you actually get your SEO strategy to work for you. And I think things are getting generally tougher. I'd also say, and I come from a traditional marketing background by original trade until digital marketing sort of came to the fore, traditional marketing methods are under scrutiny. So even like coming and showing at an event, you know, events are a bit of a staple in B2B marketing, but they're coming under more and more scrutiny. Are we actually driving enough business out of showing up and, you know, creating stands and bringing this full team of people to rally the troops? Are we actually getting a big enough difference from that? And there's issues about, you know, how we get our marketing budget signed off, And, is it harder to actually demonstrate the ROI that we're getting from our marketing budgets? And so, are we under the cosh a bit, having to work harder and harder and harder to actually get our marketing budgets agreed and be able to do the activities that we want to do? I'd also say that digital marketing as an expression is seen as the holy grail, perhaps, of marketing, and a solution to marketing challenges. But again, it can be difficult to actually see the ROI. You might have a click-through rate, but to actually get to a conversion and know that your PPC or your SEO is actually working better or worse for you is sometimes a bit of a tricky thing to do. And I think finally, and it's quite important, this one, prospects are keeping their distance from you for longer. Some people say that up to 70%, this is a stat from earlier, of the buying decision is made before a brand even interacts with you. And so you've got a wonderful opportunity of completely missing out, of not actually even having a decent, meaningful, or even light touch conversation with the prospect before they go on and buy from somebody else. And so there's this huge challenge about what can we do to sit outside of our own web environment and actually attract prospects in to our company. But, and the subject this morning was on content marketing, if we spend lots more money and effort and focus in content marketing, for example, how do we know that that's paying back? So the challenge is to be able to assess and evaluate the merits of the different activities you're doing and know they have an ROI back into your business. So measurability is absolutely critical and fundamental in today's organisation and today's world. You've heard the expression content is king, but also could it be the future of SEO strategy? And I'd say that actually it will play a bigger and bigger and more fundamental part in driving marketing leads and driving business. And we have to understand that as we deliver more content, we have to put a value to that content and the impact that it can have on our business. And we need to be able to control all these things and manage all these things and assess the merits and impacts of these. And so digital marketing is getting more complicated, guys. It really is. And it takes a lot of thinking about. My last stat on content is about how much it's being searched. The trends are upwards because it's more and more of a talking point for people, and how many businesses are thinking about increasing their content efforts. More and more are doing this. And by that, it's not just the content they're providing, but it's their use of social channels, Twitter, a blog, Facebook, those environments to actually disseminate information about a company, getting more and more important, and it's harder and harder for brands to actually see the impact. A bit warm in this room. And I met a company the other day and they were saying, we think we need to do more social media marketing. We think it's going to help our digital efforts, but I don't know how to prove the case for it. So I said, well, the trouble is, if you're not doing any, it's really hard to prove the case for it because you actually have to be doing it. And we went and had a look to see what we could find, and we could actually see that the small amount of social marketing he was doing was impacting his conversion pathways. It was beginning to be a step in the engagement process the prospects were going through, and what he needed to understand was how big a step it could be in the whole process and build upon that. But you need analytics to be able to do that. Now, in this world in which we live, I think it is a bit of a challenge today, and this is a view from a hotel in New York. I don't know if any of you have been there, but I was sitting just there in this bar fairly recently, and I got talking to this chap, and he was a Canadian, and we got talking, and he said that he ran a Canadian scrap metal company. And I thought, well, that's interesting, and I asked him how he got here, and he'd come on his own private jet, and he'd flown another group of people in on another private jet, at which point I'm thinking, well, A, I'm in a relationship, so that's a completely different subject, but B, this guy is clearly doing well because he's, here under his own steam. That's where I was sitting. And I thought, sod it, I'm going to ask him the question. I said, how much do you turn over in a year? And he said, close to 2 billion Canadian dollars, actually, me and my brother turn over in our company. I thought, wow, this is getting more and more interesting. And how do you do that, I said. And he said, by being 2% better every single thing that we do. And I thought, that's a really interesting observation, because it's not about being 50% better at one thing. and going after something. It's about able to define what you're doing and how to turn the dial on all those different things and be a bit better at everything. And the compounded effect of being a bit better at everything and continually improving everything is more business. And so we need to be able to focus on that more and more today and work out how do we make those 2% differences each step of the way. So I think there are 5 opportunities, so there are probably more than that, but 5 opportunities today to supercharge your sales and marketing. And I'm going to go through each of those in turn. But the first one I want to just spend a moment on is time. Now, we all did economics, or a lot of us did. We understand about elasticity, yeah? I haven't found the way to bend time yet. Yeah, I leave myself no time to do something and then work out why I can't do it, but I actually haven't found the way to bend time. And just have a look at this video if I can get it to play, just for 30 seconds.
Imagine there is a bank that credits your account each morning with $86,400. It carries over no balance from day to day. And every evening, it deletes whatever part of the balance you failed to use during that day. What would you do? Draw out every cent. Each one of us has such a bank. It's called time. Every morning, it credits you with 86,400 seconds. And every night, it writes off as lost whatever you have failed to invest wisely. It carries over no balance. It allows no overdraft. Each day it opens a new account for you. And if you fail to use the day's deposit, the loss is yours. There is no going back. There is no drawing against the tomorrow. You must live in the present on today's deposit, invested in every opportunity. The clock is running. You've got to make the most of today, right here. Right now.
Right here, right now, right here, right now, right here. Now, okay, there's a bit of an American voice there, sort of bigging it up, which we may or may not like. I think it kind of adds to the impact, actually, that American voice. But what a good point. And I think if we use the term marketing automation for a moment, I think one of the big things about marketing automation, it actually saves time. Not only does it save time, but it creates an opportunity to do more things in that time. So all the things that as marketing managers we were having to manually do and think about and plan for and remember, a lot of that we can automate. And it doesn't have to be top of our radar every day. And we don't actually have to think as marketeers, if only I had more time, I would do more marketing. Because actually now, with the tools that are available, we can do more marketing. We can do better marketing as well. We can also do more marketing. So one of the first things I think represents an opportunity is actually the ability to bend time a little bit and make it more elastic through the tools that are at our disposal. And you mustn't underestimate that, because when I work with a lot of companies these days and we recreate their marketing practices, once they've got marketing automation in, they can do more. There's more that they can do as a result of it. Second one, really important, this one, turn email marketing into the most important tool in your toolbox. Now, I did a seminar the other week on email marketing, and one of the questions I was asked was, is it still important? Is email marketing still important? And my answer was, it's never been more important. It's also never had as much bad press, and it's never before has it been so misunderstood in terms of what the opportunity for it really is today. And I don't mean mass blast email, I mean well-targeted email to actually build a relationship with the prospect. And I thought there were 6 things, I mean there are a number of things, but 6 things that I would say email marketing can do. And I think it's a power tool for businesses and for B2B businesses to connect with prospects and help you nurture them. First of all, goodbye batch and blast. So with the systems that are available today, you do not need to send blast emails anymore. That is a thing of the past. You can personalize as a norm and do it really easily. You can be proactive with your emails, reactive and automatic with them. All these things that we take for granted, but actually we don't really do. We don't just really think it hard enough, but we should be able to do. We can automatically remarket. So if someone doesn't open it, or an email, if someone abandons the shopping cart, we can actually send them another email. Such a simple thing. And retailers are saying that they can convert another 10% of their sales just by remarketing an email to someone who abandons the shopping cart and doesn't buy. So it's a really easy thing to do, and the tools are there to enable us to do it, but so many businesses just aren't doing it yet. Testing becomes part of the course. I can't stress enough how much you can improve things by testing your email marketing. You just need to build it into your practices and processes and make it part of your everyday life. And really important, you can fine-tune your email marketing to the individual customer and prospect. Because you automate, because you come off the different things that they're actually doing, it's an individual customer relationship that you're forging with your email. And so it seems to the person that you're actually communicating with. So it's such a powerful tool. And the question that I got asked in that seminar, and there was like 3,000 people that came onto the webinar who all had that question: is email marketing critical? Yes, it is, if you do it well. If you do it badly, it probably isn't helping you very much. But if you do it well, it's fundamentally important to business today. Another one, really important in business, is how to manage, score, and engage your leads before sales get hold of them. Now, this was, again, something that was quite difficult. People had them on spreadsheets. Marketing would have a play with them. You didn't really know much about them. Sales would be demanding the leads. You'd hand them over, and then it was a bit of a blunt object to see if sales could actually convert them. But now we have an opportunity to manage and engage with our prospects in such a better way, and the question is just how well we do it. And I thought there was a simple little diagram that I shared this morning in a different way, and I hope you can see that word there. So the key is that when we acquire the attention of an audience, we should not waste that opportunity, because otherwise we've got to go through the expenditure of acquiring them again, which is a really expensive thing to do. So the opportunity is, once we've got their attention, we need to get them to participate. And once they participate with us and exchange some intel, some details, we have the opportunity to engage with them, help them with richer, deeper, more meaningful, engaging content and topics, so eventually they want to share with other people the experiences that they've had. And so now, with the tools available, we can actually go through this engagement process and mean it. And being in a marketing role for 18 years, I remember telling clients, oh, I've created you this really engaging campaign. I didn't actually mean it. What I meant was, I've got this really lovely idea and I think you'll smile. It didn't mean that it was actually really going to engage with the prospects. I don't know if you can see those because they're at the bottom of the page, but I said there are 4 really important things that marketing automation in particular can do. First of all, it creates you a marketing database, and it gives you a single customer view. That holy grail that we've been wanting for many years. It tracks behavior. So not just tells you what a customer or prospect has said about themselves, but it actually tracks how they interact with your digital assets, in what order they interact with them, what their first touch point was, what was the touch point before they actually converted into a sale. So you can start to see which of your digital channels are bringing in which type of prospect to your business. You can even score the engagement of your leads based on what they do. So how many times they go to your website, what website pages they go on, what content they download. You can create a score for each of your prospects, and so at a glance you can see where are the more valuable prospects who need potentially more attention, and which ones are ready for sales to interact with. And very importantly, you can drive different communications and different content to these prospects based on where they are in their buying cycle. So it's a really, really potent tool. Really interesting, this one, and I don't know if any of you are sitting in a sales role right now. And I tried to use this analogy as a couple from the 1950s look like they're about to have a fight. If you were my husband, I'd poison your coffee. If you were my wife, I'd drink it. Which I think is a slight analogy for the relationship and the tension that sometimes happens between sales and marketing. Sales think that marketing is a support for them and should run around and create a little flyer for them to hand out. And marketing thinks they're doing all the big important work and that sales just don't recognise them and then go and do the low-hanging fruit leads and don't manage the really important ones that took marketing ages to get in for them. And so there's this tension. So one of the things that marketing automation also does, it enables you to create a lead that marketing has actually qualified, and qualified it before it gets passed on to sales. So now you're saying there is a quality associated with this lead before I give it to sales. So sales, don't moan, because this is a good candidate and now it's up to you to close it. It also gives salespeople full access to the intel on the prospects and behaviour. So if I hand this lead to sales, they can now see what parts of our website they looked at, how they interacted with our content, what they downloaded. So now this salesperson is really informed and can have a more meaningful conversation with the prospect than he's ever had to before. He doesn't have to start from ground zero. The salesperson can even generate their own campaigns. So they could even send their own emails out of a system and generate their own campaigns. So marketing, as it were, doesn't have to stop. And for all those marketeers who are amongst you, and I'm one of them, it stays on marketing's radar. So marketing doesn't actually lose sight of it. So we can secret squirrel, I guess, have a look at what sales are doing and make sure they are booking appointments and they are actually following up those leads and they are actually moving them along the sales qualification journey themselves. And finally, at the bottom, for any of you who can see that, I talk about measuring effectiveness and measuring ROI. It's never been easier to do it than before. And thank goodness, because we need to do it more than we've ever done it before. That's, who's that? That's Harrison Ford in search of the Holy Grail. It's a bit of a funny image, but it's trying to get the point across that measurement is such a critical part and such an important part of what we do. That's a little bit pale on that screen, but what I'm talking about here is measuring and attributing the impact of each of our digital channels on sales. A fundamental part of what we need to do now, especially when we're putting budget in so many different digital channels. How do we decide which ones are working for us? How do we decide where to invest more budget or less budget? So we actually have to be able to attribute and credit the channels themselves for how impactful they are on the conversion of that prospect. I'm saying here a one-stop shop for reporting with personalised dashboards. It's one of the other challenges. You've got Google Analytics sitting over there. Wonderful little tool, but it's anonymous. It doesn't actually tell you it was Fred. So then you need to look into other places and other parts of your systems and other dashboards to actually work out what the meaningful analytics are. But if you have a tool, you can bring it all into one place and you've got your own set of dashboards so you can, at a glance, see how all of your campaigns are performing. And yes, and you can actually react to a sales forecast. So you can actually work out within your pipeline that you've got what's the likelihood of a sale and what is the likely value of that sale, and actually see how much up-and-coming sales that you've got in your pipeline, and do you actually need to do something? Because actually it looks a bit light, and if all things remain equal, we're not actually going to hit our sales targets. Now, the reason why I've put this slide up here is because, we don't have to spend too long on it today, but I just think it's a really important principle for us all to work from as marketeers. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are in marketing, it's an important thing now to look at how we might want to readjust or rebuild even our marketing strategies with the digital environment that's open to us today. And I suggest you go in a direction with 4 things. The first thing is to establish what your goals are. And your goals need to be set clearly and firmly on what your current situation is and what you really need to achieve. And once you're clear on what your goals are, you can come up with what your broad strategies are to achieve those goals. And once you're actually clear on what your strategies are, you can come up with your smart objectives to deliver them. And once you know what your objectives are, you can come up with the tactics. And if I did a show of hands in the room, I'd be surprised if not a lot of people's hands went up that says, we start here. We start with tactics. And then we wonder what happens next. Well, actually, you stay in tactics. And when something fails, you think, uh-oh. But if you've come from a plan, you can actually go back to objectives and back to strategies and think, right, that didn't work. What should we do next? 3 things to end on, or nearly the end of the presentation. It's all about ROI at the end of the day. So 3 things. Improve the quality of the marketing you do to your individual prospects. Improve the marketing intelligence that you have to enable you to enhance performance and to focus your budget on what makes the most impact to your bottom line. And I think those are the 3 things that should be goals of a business, because that will impact your ROI in the future. I made this up, but if we were looking for a marketing manager today, and I'm not a marketing manager anymore, but what a long list of skills are needed. I think it's never been harder to be a marketing manager, because you need so many skills, so broad, so deep. You've got to be a publisher, a copywriter, you've got to know about SEO, you've got to brief agencies, you've got to come up with creative ideas. I mean, it's a tough job these days. And so actually, marketing managers need as much help as they possibly can get now, because they can't do it all by themselves. And finally, the people that sponsored this talk today is a company called Target 360. They're a UK-owned marketing automation company. They're a very friendly, personable company, and they offer great solutions. They're built within an existing CRM platform, and they deliver CRM and marketing automation services to businesses. I do some consultancy for them, which is why I'm talking today. And I wanted to just point out 3 things to you, that this afternoon and for the rest of the afternoon, and potentially after that as well, I'm doing digital health checks with people. So there's a chap called Billy right at the back, and there's a stand just in the corner outside. And if you wanted to spend some time with me just talking about your digital challenges, I'd be more than happy to have a chat about them and see if I could help you with those. And then there's 2 guides. We will send you these links, but just in case, I've written a guide to content marketing, which is a white paper. It's about 4,000 words, but it gives you an overview of content marketing, so you could have a read of that. And also wrote one on marketing automation. Again, they're both simple guides that try to help and explain what the subjects are all about and really educate you a bit further. And they're available for you to download today.